Hello everyone, my name is Leticia Rojas and let's start with the travel map. Now let's talk about New York City in the United States. First, it consists of a population of 22 million people in this year. The politics of New York City was once led by the so-called Tammany Hall, which was supported by Irish Catholics in the 19th century. It was not until 1933 that this political system fell after 80 years of politics, changed to a system called Blue State, which was safe for the Democrats. On the other hand, the economic system of the city of New York is made up of profits obtained from the financial sector, such as a commodity or investment in banking, among others, as well as insurance and real estate. Some of the advantages of New York City are it has many transportation units covering most of the well-known places. There is a great cultural diversity. There are many recreational activities such as NBA games, theater, or street art in Times Square, and many culinary options. However, the disadvantage are there is a traffic most of the time, and there is a bad smell in the streets. You may see rats in the street and among other things. New York is known as the city that never sleeps because every step you take is like a new adventure. There are many places to visit and spend your time enjoying the city. For example, Times Square, climbing the red stairs of the TKTS or just looking at the street art. And you can also visit the Brooklyn Bridge, which joins the island of Manhattan and with Brooklyn. Finally, some of the celebrities that are present in New York City are Julia Roberts, Jennifer Aniston, Lady Gaga, Justin Timberlake, etc. And speaking about politics, in New York is famous the name of Donald Trump. He was president of the United States and owner of a building called Trump Tower.
Hi, my name is Efrain, and today I'm going to talk about Dublin, Ireland. Dublin is located in the island of Ireland and is the city with the most population in it. It was founded as a military base and a central commerce of slaves by the Vikings. This city is very interesting since it is the capital of UNESCO, little deal given by the UNESCO, and nominated twice as the most welcoming city of Europe, mostly because the night activity is high and the pubs and the streets are filled with festivals, music, and of course, people. Because it's part of Ireland, it counts with a president and two chambers. It's like the system in Mexico, and the three are in Dublin since it's the capital. Dublin is also known as a global city and is renowned for all the tech industry so much that at some point was named the Silicon Valley of Europe. We cannot forget that Irish people are known for drinking a lot of beer, and how not since they have a lot of beers over there. But the most famous is the Guinness beer and its distillery. It's located here in Dublin. With your Guinness, you can accompany it with some Irish stew, cattle, or fresh oysters, to name a few of the dishes of Dublin. You can find most of the pubs on the Temple version. If you don't like beers as much as the Irish people, you can also visit its famous places like O'Connell Street. It's a main street and known for having people at all hours, and it's a commercial zone. Or the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity, built by a Viking, but built by a Viking king. Or maybe your thing is a cultural. Well, you can also visit the Irish Museum of Modern Art. Dublin has a lot of cultural and important places to visit. The currency in Dublin is the same as the in the European Union since it's part of it. It's the euro. The tradition, well, the tradition in Irish or Ireland, it's one of the most famous one, the St. Patrick's Day. They celebrate. It was first celebrated in USA, but that doesn't mean that they don't celebrate it in its home, the its Irish home. We can say that one of its advantages is the Dublin Pass, a special permit that allows you to visit all the tourist attractions without paying more than the pass. Speaking of advantage, since it's a coastal city in an island, all the seafood is fresh. It's relatively small city, so it's walkable and the transport is efficient. So it's a win-win whichever you choose. Well, now that we have talked about the advantage, it's time for its disadvantage. Fortunately, there's not much to say in this aspect since the people are good-hearted, and the city is well maintained. Just the prices of living there are high. But if you're just visiting, that this is not important. But the weather, which is important for to you, it's gloomy and rainy. So you need to check the weather first if you want to enjoy the city to the fullest. To finish with the city, we'll name a few important people like its president, Michael G. Higgins. He lives in the Phoenix Park. They have the residence of the president inside the park. It's one of the many monuments inside the park. They also have celebrities like Bono from the band U2 and Conor McGregor, a fighter in the UFC, or or Oscar Wilde, a famous author. Uh, we we have read their books like the Phantom of Canterville and some things like that. Well, thank you for your time, and I will leave you with my partners. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Melanie and I talk about London, England. The population 8.982 million and political system, the United Kingdom is parliamentary monarchy, economic system, British capitalism is a rent economy concentrated in financial real estate and commercial service. And the lunch for lunch, fish and chips, pie and mash, egg and mess, banger and mash, cockle stick, toffee pudding as tea time. Location, Tower of London, Warner Bros, etc. Custom and curious tradition that English have is the pancake day, which takes place on store Tuesday, which in turn is the Tuesday type falls 41 days before the start of spring and is related to the eve of the Lenten fast. In advance is a country with an excellent education system and is a home to many world-renowned universities, especially Oxford and Cambridge. London is the most expensive city in the world, but the cost of living in other cities is relatively low. The British pound is a strong current, and there are many job opportunities to young people. England is a full of historical places, and visiting them is free in most cases. Disadvantage, you will have to get used to the gloomy weather. The days are raining throughout the year. Enjoys more vacation time than many American countries, but has always one full week less than more other European countries. Typical British food has a bad reputation for being bland. Character, social ambit, John Lennon, Princess Diana, political Reine Isabel, Sir Winston Churchill, cultural Charles Darwin, William Shakespeare.
Mumbai is the largest city in India. It is the most populous sport city in all of India and the fifth most populous in the world. The politics of India is a federal parliamentary democratic republic with a clear separation of powers. The currency that Mumbai uses is the rupee. Its economy is the most important in India since it is the city through which more than half of the country's foreign trade enters. The gastronomy of this city is famous for its species, but it is not the only thing they consume. There are some essential ingredients that can be found in the vast majority of the traditional dishes, such as bread, green lentils, black lentils, rice, and others. Some of the most important celebrations are Ganesh, Chatut, Hindu festival celebrated in honor of the god Ganesha, and Diwali, also known as a festival of lights. It's a celebration full of lights, color, joy, and gift. It is celebrated for 5 days and commemorate the triumph of God, of good over darkness, Rama's victory over the demon Ravana, as well as the beginning of the new lunar year. Now, the other page. The most famous places in Mumbai are Chhatrapati Shivaji. It is a major hub for travelers which can pass in almost continuously, and the downside of this place is the nightmare that is traveling by train, especially to the rush hour, and especially if you are traveling to the city for the first time. And the other place, the Gateway of India, although the place is normally packed with tourists and locals alike, is an incomparable place to gaze and see and snap plenty of photos. And finally, we have celebrities I didn't find them especially from the city, but there are very important people in the country, such as Gandhi. He was an Indian thinker and politician, and surely the most well-known Indian character in the world, or Indira Gandhi, who was a brilliant political thinker and strategist, occupying the highest position in a society that was still very patriarchal. Indira Gandhi might have been to be Pacific boss, but her actions constantly prove otherwise. And that's all about Mumbai.
Hi guys, I'm Christian Longoria and I would like to tell to you about a wonderful city that is Sydney, the largest and most populous city in Australia and Oceania. Has a population of close to 4.92 million in its metropolitan area. It is the capital of the state of New South Wales and was the seat of the first British colony in Australia. It was founded in 1788 and in Sydney Creek by a great character who is Arthur Phillip. Um, Australia is a representative democracy, and that is, it has a parliamentary government in which Australian citizens participate and give their opinion. Its development and economic prosperity is based on the export of raw materials and agricultural products, especially gold and wool. Some of the most iconic places are the Sydney Opera House, the undisputed symbol of the city, Sydney Harbour Bridge, the other great landmark to see in Sydney. Sydney Harbour, a lively atmosphere in a unique setting. Royal Botanic Gardens, a haven of peace in the city. Santa Maria Cathedral, the majesty of the city, Taronga Zoo, a space to enjoy animals, and finally the beaches. For example, Bondi Beach, and the best now beach in the city. Within the cultural scope, Hugh Jackman was born in this beautiful city and is better now as Wolverine. Among the advantage we have are that there is always something new to do. The cultural gastronomic option of the city are very wide. On one of the reason to live in Sydney is that there are more than 100 beaches throughout the city. The bay is one of the most beautiful in the world. Salaries are usually slightly higher than in the rest of the city. And another good thing about living in Sydney is the good connection with the rest of the country. Among the disadvantage, we have the city center is a bustle and constantly full of people on the go. It's an expensive city, but if you find work is shouldn't be a problem to say in it. If you like to drive, you should now that there is a lot traffic. It's a lot of traffic, and it is full of sloping streets, which makes it difficult to get around by bike. The weather is exceptional, but sometimes it can change very suddenly. A sunny a sunny day can turn rainy and windy in a matter of minutes. But this does not stop it from being a good option for vacation. Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Luis Aguilar, and to continue, I will present the city of Auckland, located in one of the islands of New Zealand. Auckland is a large metropolitan city in North Island of New Zealand, the most populous urban area in the country. The Auckland Council is the local authority with jurisdiction over the city of Auckland, along with surrounding rural areas. Its Prime Minister Jacinda Kate Laurel Arden, she was first elected to the House of Representatives. Auckland, because of its large population, is covered by 22 general electorates and 3 Maori electorates. There is a unit of currency in New Zealand called the dollar. The Reserve Bank believes most retailers are adopting the Swedish rounding system. With more than 40,000 kilometers of coastline, it's no wonder New Zealand is home to some of the best seafood in the world. Now, for its amazing crayfish, the small town of Kaikoura has seafood caravans dotted along the coast. Hangi is a traditional Maori dish with a rich smoky flour. You should not be surprised if a local resident the word kiwi in a conversation when it is not about birds, fruit, or payment system. Kiwis are open, friendly, and quite punctual. The Pacifica celebration representing 11 nations spread throughout the park in villages. Like the island nation, it represents each village has its own personality. The festival presents a wide variety of cultural experiences, including traditional cuisine and performance from Samoa, Tonga, Cook Islands, Fiji, Niue, Tahiti,